So I'm doing something different here with 6th edition. I want to give a summary at the end of my battle reports here. So I'm going to go through and kind of give MVP, MUP, which is most useless player, from the previous battle, and then a couple honorable mentions, and kind of just talk about how the game went, in my opinion. And some of the things I think went well, and some of the things I'd probably change. So first of all, MVP. It's a tough decision, but I had to go with the Plasma Tactical Squad. I got two guys here representing them. He's missing an arm because, as you can see, I got a bunch of Chapter House Exorcist shoulder pads that need to be placed. So all my guys are missing some arms and shoulder pads and whatnot. But anyway, Plasma Squad really did well. They took out an entire tactical squad on their own. Wiped down a second squad that's about half strength, took them down, and tied up a Terminator and survived and managed to run away. And really just kind of were a pest the entire game. They ended up all dying, but they did enough that for tactical squad in particular, which some people find to be useless, I think they did really well. MUP, most useless, has to go to my Assault Terminator squad. I don't know what happens, but whenever I get into close combat, I cannot roll. Shooting, I can roll pretty well, I'd say. Close combat, I can't hit this broadside of a barn. They lost combat when they got to charge against another Assault Terminator squad, and basically had paper armor. So I don't know. I don't know what happened with them. Hopefully in the future they're a better 200-point investment. Couple honorable mentions. Got to go with the Storm Talon. It did well. Just having the Skyhammer missiles and the assault cannon just has so much anti-infantry and light armor firepower. It's really quite nice. So it just kind of was flying around being a pest, hitting what it could. Got to go with the attack bikes. The multi-meltas, I believe, were the ones that took out the Land Raider. Also, they're good for shooting. They're good anti-infantry with the twin link bolters. Surprisingly, a lot of people kind of forget about those, but they actually can put out a pretty devastating amount of fire and be relentless. So I always like my attack bikes. They've done well so far. And I gotta go with my commander here. He may not have necessarily killed a whole lot of stuff, but he was a fantastic distraction. He took on that tactical squad initially, held them up for basically the entire game, took Sicarius in, and was fighting him for a while in challenges and still held out with one wound, took another tactical squad to charge, then he finally went down. But that was easily 3 turns wasted on my opponent's part, just trying to kill my commander. Like I said, he may not have killed everything that he needed to make up for his points, but the distraction that he was really made up for it. Kept his scoring units away from the objectives. And one other thing I gotta say about him, Artificer Armor. Greatest investment you can make. That 2+ really saved him. Sicarius' power weapon couldn't do anything to him. I'd take the Relic Blade on him as well, just because the +2 to strength, while still having the 5 initiative, it really helps against monstrous creatures and whatnot. And it cut through those Space Marines like no tomorrow. Then just a general kind of outlook of the game, I would say that I was most impressed with, or most happy with, my strategy of keeping the rhinos. I was debating about foot-slogging it, which my opponent ended up doing, but the mobility of vehicles now is a huge difference in any game. Being able to move 18 inches in a turn, and rushing all my rhinos forward and holding the middle ground really made a difference. It put my opponent on the defensive and really gave me the upper hand in positioning. So I would highly advise keeping rhinos, even if they may not be as tough as they once were. Being able to glance them to death, they're still a really valuable asset. I am glad that I went on the aggressive. I may have a very shooty Space Marine army, but being aggressive with them really makes a difference. Put your opponent on his toes, so he can't use his own tactic to counter you, because he's always on the defensive, you know. That was kind of the idea, and it really worked out well. It was a pretty crushing victory for the Space Marines, I'd say. The Exorcists Space Marines, technically. Yeah, and then one other note I wanted to make is for 6th edition, I plan on having some good stuff. I might make some blogs, some painting. If you like how my models look, I use a lot. I found some new techniques, and I've been really happy with how they've been turning out. So look out for those, and thank you.